Aloha and welcome to this practice WALD E19. And what we're going to do here is continue to fiddle around, no pun intended, with this Hawaii open data set containing 5 years of UH degree data as a way of helping us get more comfortable with the underscore library, which in turn gets us more comfortable with the notion of passing functions around, so the whole functional programming paradigm. So there's a lot of different skills that you're exercising all at once, and I know that that's a little intimidating and confusing, but I think if you just keep sticking with it, the light bulb will come on fairly quickly, and you'll be at kind of a new level of programming, is my hope. Okay, so we're doing the same data set as before, and in fact we're going to start with a fork of the previous practice WAD, which means again we want it configured to be using the underscore library, and we want to have this UH data set as an external resource. So let's go ahead and fork it, which creates obviously a new URL to this part of the code, but everything else stays the same. Oh, and shoots, I got to start the timer. Yeah, so that didn't take up much time to just do the fork. Okay, so we're going to implement two functions. One, total degrees by year, which is to be passed UH data and a specific year and returns the total number of degrees awarded in the past year. So let's start off by saying function, just to kind of minimize the typing a little bit. So we're going to be passed in our data set, and we want to basically return the total number of degrees. Well, we've seen that before, right? We've got this total, and it's given the year. So if we again look at our data set, we can see there's a field called fiscal year, and then it has a year as its value. So we want to do a filter. So we take our entire data set and we want to filter it down to a smaller data set that has just the past years, or just the past year, and then we want to call our total function over that reduced data set. Does that make sense? So we could do it this way. Let year data equal, and then we want to do the underscore. Let me look up our underscore thing. We want to again call this filter thing, right? And filter takes a list, and then it takes a predicate, which is a function that's going to check to see that whether or not each element satisfies whatever property we want. So filter data, and then it's really, if we look at our previous one, it's going to be just like this, except instead of looking for the Hawaiian legacy field to be Hawaiian, it's going to be fiscal year equal to year, right? If we look up here, here we have this fiscal year. I could have even copied and pasted that, saved even more typing. So let year data. So now that we have this let year data, we could actually test that out. So let's return year data, and then we can say console.log total degrees by year of test data, and I don't know, 2010. Let's see, test data is the first 5 elements. So let's just try that just to see if we're on the kind of the right path here. Oh, it looks like we've got another. Where's our other console.log? There it is. Okay. So this second one, let's see, we're looking for 2010. And in fact, fiscal year 2010, fiscal year 2010. In fact, everything's 2010. So let's try 2011 and see what that does. and control return. In this case, we get the empty set. So that's good. So that means if we pass in 2010 on our test data, we get all the data. If we pass in any other year, you know, like 1999, we're not going to get nothing. Okay? So that's pretty good test that, you know, this very simple function is doing the right thing. So now that we've filtered down our data set to the data associated with the year, all we need to do is return the total degrees of that data. So we can say return total degrees of year data. Okay, so let's try that on for size. I'll get rid of this just so it's clearer. Control Enter, we should get 0, right? Because if we got no data in our data set, obviously total degrees should be 0. And then if we just take the first two data and then we say 2010 and we run that, we should get 391, right? Which was that 322 plus 69 or something like that. 369 and 322. Yeah. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. So all we want to do now is find out. Let's try it for the entire data set first. So for 2010, there were 8,000 degrees. 2011, let's just see what it was. 8,900. Good trend there. More people graduating. 2012, 96. Wow. 2013, can this trend continue? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Every year looks like every single year there's more people graduating. So that's a nice thing to see about UH. Okay, so that's our first function. Pretty straightforward. Very similar to the ones we had before. And then list campuses data. Moving on to the second one. This is past UH data and returns an array containing all the campuses referenced in the past data set. So how are we going to do that one? Again, you have to kind of put on your thinking cap a little bit. There's always a few different ways to do it. First of all, I'll just start with creating the function body, and then we can kind of build it up. So let's look at the structure of the data. So we've got this thing called campus. And what I'm going to say, I think is a pretty good way to do it, is why don't we start by going through the data set and plucking out all the campus values, which will create an array of strings that could have a bunch of duplicates, because obviously, there's going to be far more. So we could say let campuses equal _dot_pluck data campus. And then let's return campuses. Okay. And then let's try seeing what that looks like. Console.log list campuses test data. Okay, and so if we get rid of our old data and then we run this. Okay, so that's good, except those are two different campuses. Let's try, like, I don't know, 10. And if we rerun this now with 10 data sets, what we can see is we've got some duplicates, right? UH Manoa, UH Manoa, UH Manoa, UH Manoa. So what we'd like to do is remove duplicates, and that turns out to be something that this library supports. And it supports it by way of the unique function, okay, which is takes an array and returns a duplicate-free version of the array using equal, equal, equal to test object equality. That's perfect. Okay. So, and do we know that it's sorted? No, it's clearly not sorted. So what we can do instead of returning, this duplicate laden list, we could just simply return that. And then if we call that function, bingo, there's our list of campuses without any duplicates in it. And so if we then call this with data, bam, there's all the different campuses and all 3,000 entries, 3,700, however, remember, without any duplicates. So there you go. That's a 9-minute. We'll call that a 9-minute RX WOD. Pretty straightforward, and hopefully you're starting to get more comfortable with the underscore library and passing functions around. See you soon.